Hey everybody, this is Rudy for Investor Investor coming at you from Palm Beach in Florida. Today we're going to look at the battle of two pipeline giants. Just a couple of days ago, I shared with you that I had opened a new position in Energy Transfer. I was probably a little quick on the trigger there because as soon as I executed my order, Energy Transfer pulled back a bit. But anyway, I wasn't buying it for a quick gain. I'm actually long and I intend to stay long in it for a while. But the big question is, how does it compare to some of my other energy positions? That was kind of my little challenge for today. And I thought I'll respond to it and put together a quick video to give you a little bit of insight into the battle of two giants. So I'll see you on the other side.
This is what you came for. This is what you came for. I'm over. This is what you came for. I'm on. This is weird. She said, I'm ready. So come and get me. I'm over here. I'm over here.
All right, guys, if you've been following my channel, you probably have figured out by now I love this stuff. And I quite enjoy making these educational videos on different equities that interest me or that I have a position in or that I think of getting a position in. And remember, this is not investment advice, so it doesn't mean whatever I do you should follow. But it certainly provides you with a little bit of insight and information, which should be useful at the end of the day. As I've said a couple of times before, I do this homework so that you don't have to. Well, let's get ready to rumble. The challenge for me today is which is better, Energy Transfer or Pembina? Pembina. The reason why I'm asked that question is because these are two of my larger holdings in my energy portfolio. I can tell you just for the sake of transparency that I've been in Pembina for a long, long time. I've held this stock for many, many years. It's a Canadian pipeline operator, and Energy Transfer is new as of this week. As a result, my position in Pembina is also significantly larger than my position in Energy Transfer. But that's also because I've been stocking away dividends on a regular basis for several years invested in Pembina. So the question is, which of the two is better? And my answer is, let's get ready to rumble and we'll do a quick comparison for you. You may ask, why are we doing this comparison and why are we even having this discussion? Well, a couple of people. So the latest one was Robert Barry. This was actually not 5 minutes ago. It was just the screenshot that I took a few minutes ago. And Lawrence Lau a few hours ago. Which is better, Energy Transfer or Pembina? And then Lawrence said, Mr. Oxy, I shall follow you to purchase ET, whichever you buy, I buy. Now, I do need to make this disclaimer here. So I replied to Lawrence and I said, please trade carefully. You can also stagger your buys. For example, if you want to invest $1,000, you could buy $250 a month for 4 months to average your cost basis, or even $100 a month for 10 months. And you know, however much money you have, if this is $100,000 or $1 million or whatever, you just do whatever you have to do. But do not jump in boots and all unless you've done your homework and you're confident in your decision, regardless of what I do. And that's the kicker here. I'm providing you with information and a little bit of educational insight, but I am certainly not making a recommendation. Why? Because it's really, really tough to make a recommendation. So let's look at these two and I'm going to compare them for you. So every time I show you a screen like this, Pembina is on the left-hand side and Energy Transfer is on the right. You can see that Pembina trades in a range of around $28, whilst Energy Transfer is only at around $6 or so in terms of its current price. They're both oil production and pipeline companies. The critical difference between the two here is that Pembina is a straight up equity and Energy Transfer is a master limited partnership. You should not have MLPs or master limited partnerships in your IRA or 401k or something like that. So any account that's tax deferred should not be an account where you hold master limited partnerships, but that is a discussion for another time and another day. So let's look at the two side by side. So there is a proverbial dividing line down the middle of my slide here. And we're looking at just a couple of things. I just talked about the price. Look at the historical volatility, 84% compared to 71 is about the same. The size of the company, $15 billion versus $18 billion. So not too much in it, give or take $3 billion. Then we look over here. So the annual dividend yield, both of these for me is a dividend play. I want the dividend. So Pembina pays almost 7%, and that's on an annual basis, and they actually pay the dividend monthly. Whereas Energy Transfer, on the other hand, pays almost 9%, and they pay it quarterly. You can see if you look at the little slider here that Pembina is just to the right of center in terms of its 52-week range, while Energy Transfer is just to the left of center. So at a quick glance, there's not a lot in it, but you could say Pembina is sort of slightly higher in terms of its 52-week range compared to Energy Transfer. But as usual, there are a whole variety of different reasons why stocks do and behave the way they do. So let's go a little deeper. If we look at the two side by side, you'll see that Pembina, the little gray line on the graph here, has outperformed. This is for the last 6 months, I think. In fact, it is for the last 3 months. Pembina has delivered around 30% and Energy Transfer only 6%. If we actually look at the actual numbers as opposed to my graph, which is a little bit interactive there, so let's look at this instead. For the past 5 days, Pembina is up a little, Energy Transfer is down a little. For the past 1 month, Pembina was up 15%, Energy Transfer only 2%. For 3 months, about 30% compared to 15%, and for 6 months, 12% compared to nothing. So sort of over the past few months, Pembina has certainly outperformed Energy Transfer and done it quite handsomely. Market cap between the two, I said they are pretty similar in size, give or take 3 billion. Hey, what's 3 billion between friends, right? Annual sales, look at this. So Pembina's annual sales is only about 5.7 billion, whereas Energy Transfer is ticking away at $54 billion. But look at the annual net income. Pembina generates $1.1 billion from that $5.7 billion in sales in net income, whereas Energy Transfer only generates $3.5 billion from $54 billion in revenue. Last quarter, Pembina came in at $1.2 billion, but Energy Transfer at almost $10 billion for the quarter. But the net income, once again, $238 million for Pembina, whilst Energy Transfer lost almost $1 billion, or $782 million. Most recent earnings, Pembina delivered 51 cents for the previous quarter, and Energy Transfer negative 29 cents. If we look at the PE, however, Pembina is sitting at a forward ratio of around 24, whereas Energy Transfer has a PE of only 7. At a glance, Pembina is outperforming Energy Transfer despite its lower revenue, significantly lower revenue. It's also outperforming Energy Transfer in terms of most recent earnings, but Pembina is no longer cheap. Its PE is 24, and Energy Transfer is only 7. Generally, as I've mentioned before, I look for a PE sort of typically around 15 or below if I'm going to make a new investment, because the sort of S&P 500 average for the past few years has been about 15. So I want to sort of start a new position, certainly at 15 or below, for sure below 20. So right now, today, I wouldn't get into Pembina necessarily, but I would obviously potentially get into Energy Transfer. But that's just me. What would you do? You can tell me in the comments. And if we look at the debt to equity range, this is PBA. So PBA is the NYSE ticker symbol for Pembina, which is actually a Canadian corporation. In Canada, the ticker for Pembina is PBL. So Pembina Pipelines, PPL. The debt to equity ratio for Pembina is only 0.7. You could say that that is a good thing. That's debatable. Some companies are exceptionally good at generating growth using debt or leverage in order to generate that growth. Pembina's debt to equity ratio is ranked lower than 62% of the 1,017 companies in the oil and gas industry. But anyway, its current debt to equity ratio is relatively small at 0.7. How about Energy Transfer? It is significantly higher at 2.87. In my previous video where I discussed Occidental versus Pembina, versus Energy Transfer, I said despite the fact that Energy Transfer has a current ratio of less than 1, would like to see the current ratio at 1 or above, they will have no problem servicing the interest on their debt because their operating multiple was 3.3 and their current debt to equity ratio is 2.87. However, on the ranking year, Energy Transfer's debt to equity is ranked lower than 92% of 1,017 companies in the oil and gas industry. So, it's a high debt to equity ratio, but manageable. So not too scary in that regard. A couple of side-by-side comparisons. Today is like a sort of bit of a stinger in terms of the energy stocks all crashing and burning because of supplies and inventory that is supposedly quite high. Wait until tomorrow and we'll see what happens then again. As you know by now, these things are volatile and just bounce up and down. What do the analysts say? So on Pembina, 2 analysts are saying it's a buy, 13 say it will outperform, 17 say hold it. No one says it's underperforming or sell it. On the other hand, Energy Transfer, you got 6 analysts saying buy, 8 say it's going to outperform, and 5 say you should hold it. So you get about 22 analysts here, and two out of the 22 say buy, and over here you have about 19, and 6 out of the 19 say buy. So as you look at the analysts sort of just as a snapshot, as a ratio, certainly the analysts are recommending Energy Transfer over Pembina. I report, you decide. I can't really make a call here. By the way, I'm not wearing a white shirt because I'm waving a white flag. I'm wearing a white t-shirt to show you that I don't only have black t-shirts. Okay, a couple of more slides here. Pembina. Fair value, this is according to Morningstar, is $29.98, its last close. This was yesterday, $28.56. This was taken from Morningside in Canada, so it's probably in Canadian dollars. I don't know, I didn't check the currency or to check the stock comparing the Canadian dollar versus the US dollar. But anyway, you can see it's sort of trading at or around fair value. Energy Transfer, on the other hand, last close $7, which the last close was, on this report was January 15th. As of today, I'll take $7 because I think Energy Transfer is down to like $6.50 or something like that. But anyway, doesn't matter. But the fair value is almost doubled, right? So currently it's trading at about $6 something. And Morningstar on January 15th said that the fair value for Energy Transfer is about $13.50. So according to the analysts, a lot more upside in Energy Transfer than in Pembina. So what do you think? Of course, if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, it's time for you to do so. But let me know in the comments and let me know one way or the other if you would lean to one of these equities or the other. If you're going to invest in a pipeline at all, which one would you choose? Let me know in the comments. Let's discuss it and see where you're at. And just for transparency, as I said during the presentation, my Pembina holdings is almost 2 times the value of my Energy Transfer holdings, but it's also because Pembina is something I've been invested in for a long time, whereas Energy Transfer is new. Anyway, let me know what you think. I look forward to your comments, and I'll talk to you soon. For now, this is Rudy for Best Investor, or Mr. Roxy saying please subscribe. Signing off, saying stay well, keep safe, bye-bye.